Let's start this audio with 3 deep breaths, in and out. Prepare your mind and body for today's lesson on anger management, a critical component of the champion's mind. Anger has been likened to electricity. You can either light a room with it or electrocute yourself, depending on how you feel on the inside and how you behave on the outside. Anger can be used as motivational fuel to make something positive happen, sometimes referred to as lighting a room. Specifically, anger or frustration can be used constructively in 4 key ways. It can boost one's competitiveness in sport or in another achievement domain, sharpen one's focus for the task at hand, increase motivation to power through obstacles in pursuit of goals, and motivate you to stand up for your rights in a way that doesn't attack another person. In sport, competing with an edge, but also keeping a cool head, is essential to winning the day. How can a powerful performer do both? Think about being mad decisive or mad determined to get the job done. Being mad destructive or demonstrating unsportsmanlike conduct by throwing equipment, fighting with others, screaming at officials, or becoming negative and complaining is just electrocuting yourself by hurting your own cause. Not to mention the effect it has on your team. Instead of allowing your anger to lead to destruction, learn to channel your angry emotions toward productivity. As we discussed in the Mental Toughness module, composure is the ability to deal with intense adversity and pressure with emotional and physical calm. The composed individual is a paragon of poise. As New York Yankee legend Lou Gehrig said, "The ballplayer who loses his head, who can't keep his cool, is worse than no player at all." Want to channel your inner anger toward good rather than evil? Here are 6 personal power tips to control anger in your game and in the game of life. First, your own feelings and behaviors. And know that it is always in your best interest to prevent violence or other bad incidents through emotional self-control. Anger is always your responsibility, not those around you. Anger is self-created by one's perceptions and thoughts about external events, not by the events themselves. Otherwise, everyone would have identical reactions to the same events, and we know that isn't true. It sure can feel righteous, gratifying, or superior to say that someone or something made you mad. But that just makes you an emotional puppet on a string, not a champion who is mentally tough. Instead, notice when you make statements like, "She really upset me," or "They made me do it." Switch your inner dialogue to the language of responsibility, saying and thinking things like, "I got upset while talking with her," or "I lost my cool today when that happened." Apologize to others, forgive yourself for lapses, but don't minimize or blame others for your angry outbursts. Second, review the Cognitive Distortions module for reminders of how the brain often lies to us by making things seem much worse than they actually are. In fact, anger is usually the result of exaggerated thoughts and beliefs and not a true representation of reality. As a reminder, the cognitive distortion magnification is when we make a mountain out of a molehill. For example, we're more likely to get angry when we exaggerate something by classifying it as a disaster, when in reality it is only a minor disappointment. So try using disappointment, not disaster, as your mantra to better cope with daily inconveniences. In addition to magnifying small issues, humans often label the whole person rather than a specific aspect of their behavior as the problem. This is another cognitive distortion to avoid. For example, replace anger-producing labels like jerk or worse With the more accurate, that particular behavior is a negative characteristic of Brad. Or perhaps, Brad was acting like a jerk today, and we've all had days like that. By avoiding magnification and labeling people, you will begin to develop healthy strategies in anger management. Third, be a master of letting go. Dwelling on the negative only stokes the flames of anger. For example, constantly thinking about what you are angry about by repeating over and over again to yourself, "I can't believe she said that," or "I can't believe that happened," will likely keep your blood boiling. Instead, douse the flames of anger by journaling about it, or tell yourself something along the lines of, "That happened at a particular place and point in time." Let it go. It's over. Flush it. Talk things out with a trusted friend or a professional. Be careful not to harbor resentment, as it will do you no good. As a wise person once said, resentment is like taking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Set yourself free by letting it go. Fourth, cultivate a more flexible, realistic, and enlightened attitude toward yourself, other people, and life itself. Most of us are way too rigid and dogmatic in our basic beliefs. We think irrational things like, "I should always be perfect," or "other people should always do what I want," or "life should always be easy." Instead, replace this shouldy, self-defeating outlook by thinking in terms of wishes, desires, and preferences. And as such, you will feel calmer and make better judgments. Fifth, express anger and frustration appropriately in your relationships. Rather than becoming passive-aggressive by freezing people out, express your anger in a calm, collected way. Rather than using aggressive and hostile actions towards someone who wronged you or trying to control others, approach the situation by focusing on what actions you can take to solve the problem. Most of the time, when we get angry in relationships, it's because our feelings were hurt and our self-esteem took a hit. So, be strong enough to be honest and vulnerable, rather than becoming defensive and lashing out. Use I statements, such as, "I really felt hurt when you said that to me." Ask politely for what you want, but don't demand it. Avoid saying or doing something that you'll later regret and that will harm the relationship. Walk away or take a time out if necessary. Be big enough to back down from trouble. Finally, work on and practice several heat-of-the-moment anger management or de-escalation strategies, including slowing down, breathing deeply, repeating "stay cool" on each exhalation, and maintaining open and non-threatening body language and facial expressions. Replace that frown with a smile, relax your shoulders, and unclench your fists. Adopt the attitude, "I'm not an emotional puppet on a string that has to get angry in this situation. I don't like what happened, but I can handle it. I'm choosing to decline this anger invitation." Now that's true personal power.